Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, the 14th of December, 2024. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought today we would talk about, when something happens and how to take care of your health. But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be how what's taken place with me uh, really showed me who my friends and close family are. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it, and this is the weekend. Today is Saturday. And what I wanted to talk about today is kind of twofold. It's one of trying to get healthy. You know, we preach to the choir, right, to everybody else about doing the right things. But when it comes to ourselves, you know, it's not so much that we cheat, it's just that sometimes we just don't give a crap and we think that we are healthy. And case in point, I had no clue that I had that much of a blockage. I had no clue that my heart was that de-stressed, you know, and that I was a walking time bomb. And I mentioned in another video, that my doctor said that had I not had the surgery, within 5 to 7 days, I would have died. And why is that? Because the closest trauma center that could have handled something like that is 2.5 hours away. And I wouldn't have lasted that long. There's no local trauma center where I live. The closest hospital is 14 miles away and it's a Band-Aid station. And I don't say that in a mean way because they did a super job of taking me, getting me prepped, and getting me where I needed to be. The staff was superb, but they don't have a good reputation for handling that stuff in-house. The nurses were great, the doctor was great, they got me where I needed to be, everything aligned. The stars aligned, right? And it got me where I needed to be, and that was at Upstate Medical in Syracuse, 2.5 hours away, with the surgical team ready to go even before I left Governor Hospital. But whether it's taking care of your heart, your weight, getting rid of bad habits, having the I've always believed that you could have anything you want. It's just when you have it to an excess. And what do I mean? I mean, there's nothing wrong with drinking beer. But if you find yourself drinking a 6-pack or more, you might want to look at it, right? And the same thing with smoking. If you're smoking a few cigarettes a day, half a pack, you're probably fine. But in my case, I had worked my way up to 3.5 packs. And really, I wasn't smoking that much because I would puff on it and then blow before I inhaled. So half, 3/4 of the smoke was coming out. And that probably saved my ass. But still, it was excess. Same thing goes for eating, People that are heavy and that want to lose weight have to, decide what's more important. And a lot of times, the issue is not how much they eat, it's what they eat. What you eat if you want to lose weight. See, for the past 30 years, I've never eaten breakfast or lunch, and I have dinner around 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's not a huge dinner. It's portioned, and I share it with my dogs, my 2 German Shepherds. And I've stayed the same weight of right around 185, right? Which is a decent weight for my height, with their metrics and stuff like that. But what they wanted me to do once I was released from the hospital, because that's what they were doing in the hospital, they wanted me to start eating 3 meals a day instead of the one. They said the 3 meals a day, you'll be a lot healthier. What they didn't know and what I didn't know is by eating the 3 meals a day, I started dropping weight. See, with eating only 1 meal a day and starving myself the rest of the time, the body is in store mode. And that means anything they get, the body is going to store it as fat because it's acting like a starvation mode the rest of the time. And by me eating 3 meals a day, the body's looking at it differently. They're saying, well, we have plenty of food, so we don't need to store all the food as fat. And next thing I know, I was at 189 when I left the hospital. And they wanted me to hold that weight right around there to 185. And with the 189, they said, you still have fluid, and we're going to give you Lasix. And that's going to cause you to pee a lot. And you're going to lose a pound or 2 due to it. So what they have me doing is they have me checking my weight at the same time in the morning, wearing the same clothes, yada, 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 right? But now I'm down to 171.2. And I know they aren't going to be happy if they hear about that weight because they didn't want me to go below 185. But I'm eating 3 meals a day. And I'm having a bowl of chocolate ice cream for dessert at night, usually around 7:30. And I get hot fudge chocolate with cashews. But why am I able to lose weight? Because it's all good food, okay? That's the big thing. It's not processed, and one of the biggest things, you eat a lot of fast food, greasy food, processed food, which means it's already pre-cooked. All you do is warm it up, yada, yada, from Walmart or the other stores. My breakfast consists of usually oatmeal and toast, or oatmeal and English muffin. 2 packages of oatmeal stirred in. I like the brown sugar. And then toast or English muffin with a little bit of butter on it. Sometimes peanut butter and jelly. It depends on what my mood is in that morning. I also have a glass of orange juice. But I take my meds first thing when I get up. So I've already taken my meds. And right now it's 5 after 4. And I get them out of the way. And usually when I start editing the videos is when I have breakfast. Because I take an antibiotic now, and you got to have something on your stomach with that antibiotic. But what I'm trying to tell you is if you actually want to lose weight, you have to look at what are the foods that you're eating. My lunch consists of either a ham or a Wonder Bar bologna sandwich, maybe a couple chips on the side, and I've got, this is my granddaughter got me hooked on it, is Orange Crush, root beer, and ginger ale sodas in the fridge. And I'll have one of those at lunchtime. And when dinner rolls around at, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm not super hungry. I mean, I've already eaten a breakfast and lunch. So my body isn't starving. Excuse me. And I don't eat a big dinner. I mean, trying to think, last night, what did we have for dinner? See, that's part of the issue too, that you guys need to know. And it's going to show up here and there. And that is, sometimes I can't get what I'm thinking to come out and say what I want it to say. And I have memory issues. Now, trying to think even what we were talking about. But the doctors, I brought that up to them when I went back to Syracuse. And they said, don't worry about it. You know, it may last for a year or two. You may have it for longer than that. That I didn't get a lot of blood to the brain for almost 7 minutes. That's how long it took them to fix the bleed after my blood pressure dropped because of a warfarin bleed. And they had to shut the machine down that was feeding my body because they had to fix the leak. It's the best way I can describe it. But some of the after effects of your brain being starved for up to 7 minutes is memory issues. Is sometimes being able to say what you want to say and being with all the time. So I apologize if at times I get off on a tangent, okay? I'll probably edit out the tangents so you don't see them as much. But it does happen. And I've had to be honest with my family and the ones closest to me so that they know. But we were talking about meals, and when it comes to meals, it's portion size. If you find, here's what I'll tell you, is if you start reducing the size of a portion that you're eating, you know, if you're sitting there and you're ordering 2 full pizzas with everything on it, and you're the only one there and you eat the 2 pizzas, you're going to gain weight. I can tell you right now. Because somebody like me, if you had 2 pizzas in front of me, might be able to eat 1 slice. And a rare occasion I might have 2 slices. But it's because my stomach is set up portion-wise. And your stomach can be set up the same way. As if you're eating less, your stomach shrinks and it doesn't require as much to feel full. That's the secret. Portion size 3 times a day, even 4 times a day if you count my snack. And I splurge because I'm not eating a whole lot throughout the day. And what brings me pleasure is either a chocolate milkshake, nice and thick, or a bowl of ice cream with fudge and cashews, salted cashews. That's my reward for the end of the day, right? But healthy, you need to become healthy. And that means if you don't want to be sedimentary. I've never been sedimentary. I've always had to be on the go. I got to be doing something. I get bored very easy. So, you know, between the cows, the shop, and everything else keeps me pretty active. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about was what I've seen take place, and I don't want to lose it. And that is, you really find out who your friends and family are when something like this happens. I have had zero negative issues with what's taken place in that area. I have got super neighbors that will drop anything at the hat to they're checking in with me. Do you need this from the grocery store? If we're going to these stores, do you need anything there, Eric? We'll pick it up for you and drop it off. To cleaning the snow out of my driveway and my steps, even though Claude does that. Claude has been a godsend. I can't thank him enough. He's the older brother and the best friend that you could ever have. And he knows that I would do exactly the same thing for him. And I have in the past. And I was told this is because I don't do well. And I would imagine there's a number of you that are the same way because you're that caliber, right? Amos, Jason, Travis, that you're not used to receiving help. You're the first one to drop what's going on to give help to others. But the concept of getting help and receiving help is something very alien to me. I don't ask people for help. And the help that I do get, I pay, okay? I always make sure, because if they took time, they ought to make a few bucks out of it. Even my own kids, if they come down to help me with this and that, I would pay them. And that way I didn't feel like I was receiving something for nothing, right? But for this, I'm receiving a lot for nothing. And I was told, because I was having issues with it, of, everybody wanting to help me and even come stay with me here at the house. As I was told that, look, for all those years, you were always the first one to help other people in need, whether it be financial, whether it be battling cancer and covering all the gas and lodging. The list goes on. This is not everything I've done for others. It's about allowing those people to pay back some that I have given, to allow them a chance to help me when I need it. And I could understand that concept. And that kind of opened me up to say, you know what? Okay, I do need help. I know I can't do it alone. Even here at the house with the dogs, I still can't totally function alone. I have family members checking in on me all day and at night to make sure I'm sleeping. I have a sister-in-law that day or night, if I'm having problems with anxiety, fear, upset, she's there. And she's a late sleeper, so if her phone goes off, where I sent her a text. That's why I always say, don't put your phone next to you in bed. Leave it out in the kitchen and let it charge. You don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night. There's not a damn thing you can do for anybody in the middle of the night. They can't wait till morning. And you take my daughter, she's 2 hours away. But at any whim, she will drop what she's doing and drive to help me. Just last weekend, she drove and picked up a bunch of stuff at Walmart and brought it here. And she also did some of my Christmas shopping for me. She has done so much. And one of the things that she said is, what's wrong with getting to visit with your dad every day? Because what we've been doing is usually just after dinner is she showed me how to FaceTime using Facebook Messenger. And I still haven't figured out how to shut it off, but I have my granddaughter shuts it off on their end. But what I've been doing is every night I FaceTime with my daughter and my granddaughter. And I enjoy that. I enjoy being closer to my family because we always get into this of where we're so busy that we don't take time to nurture those aspects of our life, right? And my son is half an hour away, and I know that he would drop whatever is going on to come right over. And last weekend I had mentioned to him that the trailer needed to go to the dump, and my other sister-in-law bought me a brand new recliner that is all electric that helps you, because it's hard for me still to try to sit up out of a normal chair, and it pulls on my chest. And the last thing I want is for my chest, because they give me all these horror stories, right? They said, when you're coughing, you want to cross your arms and tuck, because you don't want to be pulling on those stitches. And Amos can attest to this, is that on my chest where they split it open, they wired it together on the inside. I don't know how. And then they brought it together on the outside, but they put like this piece of tape, glue, whatever you want to call it. This stays in place. And then my last visit that I had to Syracuse, they pulled the tape the rest of the way off because they wanted to see these sutures. And that's how they found the infection in the one leg. But, see, I don't want to lose the closeness that I have now with my daughter, my son, Claude, my neighbors, my extended family. I haven't had a really decent relationship with one sister. She's the baby of the family, and her mom is not my mom, but her dad is my dad. So she's like a half sister, but she got into drugs and alcohol when she was younger. And she did that for a long time. And I ended up having to cut all ties, because the only time I would hear from her is if she wanted money for her drugs or how to reset and put new windows back onto laptops and computers that she had stolen to try to make money to keep her habit going. So I just shut all ties. I blocked her number. I didn't want nothing to do with her. And this has gone on for some time, but she's been clean and sober now for over 2 years. But she flew from California into Syracuse when she found out that I had open heart surgery. And I will say that relationship is now rekindled, and I very much want her part of my life. And she wants me to come out there. She's like, hop on a plane and come to California. We live right on the ocean. Sounds nice, And speaking of my son, when I asked him about the trash and because now I had 2 recliners in the living room, and there just wasn't enough room for them. But in my bedroom, because my daughter and my son-in-law came down and spent a whole weekend just going through and cleaning my house. It was to a point kind of semi-hoarder because my wife, she doesn't like change. So if you move things or change things, it upsets her. But she's still in the hospital, and they're going to move her over to a longer term facility for now because there's no way I could take care of her when I can't even take care of myself. I have to rely on others. But he come right over, and he took the garbage to the dump, and he tore the old recliner apart and moved it into the bedroom. So now I've got a TV in the bedroom where if I don't want to sit out in the living room, after a certain time, I can go into the bedroom and just turn the TV a little bit and watch it from the recliner, or I can turn it back a little bit and I can watch it when I'm in bed at night. And my tendency is I'll find something on TV and it's got a 1 hour sleep timer on it. So after an hour, it shuts it off by itself anyways. And that just kind of provides noise in the house that puts me to sleep. Before, I couldn't have any noise, but now I have to have some noise. And I've also found out that my neighbors are just great. They all will drop, at a hat to do for me. I haven't had to ask them to do much, and I should, because it allows them to give back. But the relationships that I've rekindled and the closeness that I've become with my family and my friends, I don't want to lose. That's one of the big things on my list, is make time for the people you love and have them in your life as much as possible. I will continue FaceTiming with my daughter and my granddaughter every night. I enjoyed that. And when I was there for the 4 days, my granddaughter and I were inseparable. And we had a great time. And I need that, because the other two kids of my daughter, we didn't have that. They grew up fast, and everybody was busy. And I would get them down here maybe a couple times a year. And, the grandson, we got him a deer. He hunts with us now. And my granddaughter, she is working crazy hours. She's an LPN. But I want to rekindle, and I want to continue the closeness that I have with everybody. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. But the main theme of today's video is, one, in order to get healthy, it has to be totally up to you, and you have to be on board. Because who else is going to be responsible? If you're smoking a half-pack cigarettes a day, you're probably fine. But if you start smoking a lot more than that, you're putting yourself at risk, right? And it's become a habit instead of something that you enjoy. I can say right now to you, I have not had a cigarette since I went into the hospital. And the whole time I was in the hospital, they kept asking me, do you want a nicotine patch? Because my kids had told them how many packs a day I was smoking. And I didn't have the urge. And I would tell them, no, I'm fine. I don't need a nicotine patch. And I'm not going to start back up. Now, what I have done, and I'm very limited on how I use it, is my daughter vapes. And there's there's a lot of issues with vaping. Again, if you do it to an excess, then you're going to have problems. But I like a few puffs in the morning. It's kind of like having your morning cigarette. And the big times are like after meals. That's a lot of times is where I smoked a lot. And I was smoking a lot, not because I needed the nicotine. I was smoking a lot because it became habitual. And anything that becomes habitual, whether it's alcohol, drugs, vaping, smoking, you name it, is not good in excess. But when it comes to the bad habits, you have full control over it. When it comes to your body, whether it's weight loss, getting healthy and stuff, it's totally up to you. You're the main player. And if you're not going to be 100% on board, it's not going to work. If you're trying to lose weight, think about portion size. Think about what you're actually eating. You don't have to be a rabbit and eat all these vegetables and this and that. No. If you eat a healthy breakfast, a healthy lunch, I have, like I say, ham or bologna on white bread, usually a slice of cheese and some mustard, and a few chips and a soda. But portion size again. Dinner the same way. But you have to be the one to decide to make the changes. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday, and I hope you have wonderful things. You guys have been on my list of unbelievable support, and I can't thank you enough. Enjoy your Saturday.